on watch. It is day 12, and we are moving along nicely. So we've got a little bit of wind and wave action. Probably the last, last night, yesterday evening, it kind of set in, and we probably have it for another 36 hours or so, is what Allie is thinking based on the weather forecast. So we're moving along nicely, we're making good speed, heading the right direction. The wind vane, which is probably in the shot, is doing an excellent job of keeping us on track and all that. So I think we've done about just under, well, probably at this point, over 1,500 miles, and we've got about 2,500 to go. So we're making progress and happy to be out here at sea. So I just watched that video and I realized I haven't shaved in a while, so I'm just gonna let it go till it bothers me. But it's pretty obvious that I cannot grow a beard at all, and I've come to accept that in life. But that's all right. So this will be a good attempt. We'll get a month to see what it looks like, and then I'll probably promptly shave it before actually heading to land, so as not to scare the locals.
So one of the biggest challenges for me for this passage was dealing with my seasickness. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but then again, I took Dramamine every single day just in case, just as a prevention. One day I decided to try these patches I got off of Amazon.
Some of my sailing buddies had recommended, I think they're like scopolamine patches or something like that. Camille bought some off-brand ones.
Yeah, they were super expensive in the States. They were super expensive in Puerto Rico.
Not the Amazon ones, but the...
No, the original ones.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, I got them and I decided to try them to save my Dramamine because, you know, we had a lot of days ahead. So I did, and for some reason, I don't know if it was related or not, but the days that I used the patches were the days that I felt the worst, that I even puked, you guys. So I decided to not use them and definitely do not recommend them. But other than that, I was fine. Being on land, oh my gosh, it just felt like so far away. But I made it.
She was really excited about it.
Hey everybody, I was very happy and kind of celebrating that I haven't been feeling funky ever since we first got on board Serenity First on January 5th. So just like I'm cured of seasickness. But yesterday I wasn't feeling well at all, and today I'm feeling so-so, but I'm just like seasickness. What was I to seasickness? Not today. So I have these badass bands, like Wonder Woman. Supposedly they're gonna help with putting some pressure on my wrist, but I don't know if I believe in that. I know they couldn't hurt, and if not, I'm making a fashion statement. Whatever. I took Dramamine. I ate some ginger candy. My stomach is feeling a little better. But I hope that in a couple days I get my sea legs like stable and I'll start feeling a lot better. Because we got quite a bit way to go, so we'll see.
And so we had a wide variety of conditions, but for the most part, we were basically sailing with the wind, and the motion of the boat when you're on that sailing angle is kind of basically a constant back and forth motion, and then sometimes it can even be like pitching forward and back as well. And so while not violent, it's still always present.
It's uncomfortable.
And Camille's prone to motion sickness and things like that, so it affected her kind of for the entire trip. I think for the most part it was great because Camille wasn't throwing up for the entire trip, but it just depends on how you rate it. If like success is not throwing up the whole time, great success, but she was feeling the effects of it. You know,
Yeah,
the whole time.
I didn't feel bad all the time, like seasick all the time. Obviously, that's what we're saying. But I felt kind of off.
So I think
You know?
it's kind of interesting being in constant motion for an entire month, basically. And so we tried to record some clips showing that of just. I had recorded some things, and you just can't tell that the boat's moving. And so I tried to kind of focus on things that would highlight that. And it's just, you know, showing Camille's necklace just moving, and then the towels moving back and forth. There's just this constant motion there, and kind of showing. I have a couple where it's showing the light moving across the floor, and it just shows. I mean, you can imagine the sun's shining through a window. Well, that window's moving all over the place, and that kind of shows how much motion there is. And it's just really. The first few days of the passage were calm, and I kind of called Camille out on it. She was just free walking around the cabin, not bracing or holding on to anything. And when it's calm, that's fine, but it's a bad habit to get into, because you really need to kind of almost monkey bar your way along the cabin, because you need to have kind of a hand bracing yourself as you walk around, kind of 3 points of contact, you know, if you're moving, because if a wave comes all of a sudden, you could just go flying across the cabin or bump in, and any broken bones offshore would be a major problem. Yeah. Well, here we would just, if I fell here, we would just go to the hospital and it's solved.
Yeah.
But if you're offshore and you're 20 days from land, you've got a serious problem. So I think it's a whole different scale when you're offshore sailing. It's interesting to just sit solid in one place, but watch everybody try to walk around the cabin, because you'll be on a line, and then a wave will come, and it's definitely kind of there's a kind of a pattern to how you try to deal with the constant motion.
It's just that to me, that's not even walking. You know, we didn't walk for a month.
Most of Camille's responsibilities on board were actually down below, and that's where the motion of the boat can affect you the most in terms of seasickness and things like that. And so Camille spent a lot of time in the galley, and it's hot there and everything else. And so that's there's definitely trying to, like, that was a pretty new experience for you, I guess, trying to actually figure out how to brace yourself, because if you're cooking or holding a pot or something, now if a wave hits, you're basically can just fall back and everything else. So there's definitely a skill to learning how to kind of brace yourself up against the counter so that you can pin yourself there and free your arms to cook and things like that.
The heat, it's a trigger for seasickness. You know, I started to feel like very.
Felt worse when it was hot.
Yeah, and but that was part of it, because I didn't do any watches since I didn't have the experience that these guys have. Like Daniel said, most of my responsibilities were in like the domestic side of things, and cooking is a big part because you have to feed everybody. And we shared the cooking, but I did a lot of that.
Yeah, Camille picked up more, took the load off of everybody else by doing a little more cooking than was the average. And so we kind of split the roles between both couples. And so Camille and I would team up on some meals, Alec and Laura on others, and then Camille would do some other prep, mainly focused around lunches and stuff like that.
Today I'm sweeping, or trying to. We clean the saloon and the galley, like sweeping and like a thorough cleaning once a week. Today's my week. And today the boat's been moving like crazy, just like the gods of the sea are pushing it from side to side. So I have to sweep sitting down on the floor or on the sofa, because otherwise I'm gonna eat the floor. So yeah. A lot of hair.